Hello everyone, I'm Deborah Simpkin King, Artistic Director of Ember, and I'm just about to leave for tonight's performance in New York City of a concert that we call Emerge. Well, throughout this season during which Ember artists have been singing together safely, the only ways we've been able to stay in contact with many of you is through virtual means. And part of what we've discovered as we are looking forward to welcoming our in-person audiences both tonight and tomorrow in New Jersey is that we have a lot of new friends with whom we will always want to stay in touch, if only through virtual means, because you are outside of the New York and New Jersey areas. You are one of them. So part of what we always enjoy is talking a little bit about the music to our audiences and the meaning that we find in the music. And doing so feels very natural in person, and we're experimenting with different ways to do that with you as our virtual audience and ways to be in contact through technology. So today I thought I'd take just a moment before you listen to the concert to share with you a few of our thoughts about the music, and I'll do the same thing with our in-person audiences tonight and tomorrow. Now, you might want to decide that you want to just listen to the music, and that's perfectly fine. And if you want a bit more inside information about the music and the concert, hang in there for just a few more minutes here. Well, can you even walk down the sidewalk without overhearing somebody in a conversation having to do with COVID? We can't here in New York. That much I know. We do seem, however, to be emerging from our darkest days, and we are all making our way into what the future looks like. And so much has changed. A good bit of the change we will likely carry forward with us. But how to figure it out? Well, we thought we'd have some fun with that conundrum today, and frankly, with where it is that we look for answers, for wisdom, for guidance. Well, in our first two pieces today that we'll perform, and we'll perform them together, one right after the other, without a break, we look to finding our foundations, our family members, both those still with us and those who have departed this earth, and finding a new day breaking in our souls. The second selection in this first group invites the aspirations of all who dream to join together and to make our world anew. We'll sing these two pieces without a break in between them. Our next section that we call Searching for Wisdom, well, it's the heavy-duty group. It's the longest one. There are 3 pieces in it, and we will take a breather between each one. The first one is a set of 6 pieces set to some of Einstein's famous pithy statements. And you'll find that the music by Trent Worthington mirrors the meaning of the pieces in sometimes obvious and sometimes more subtle ways. In this case, it's a very human, if brilliant, source of wisdom to which we look, that of Einstein. So this set includes music as simple as a chorale style, which, for example, references the simplest way being God's way, all the way to unfettered sweeps and swoops of the unleashed atom to which he refers. If you follow the text in the program as we sing, you'll hear the clever antics of our composer duly matching those of the brilliant humanist Einstein. The next piece in this group is by Ola Yelo, and it's a setting of a poem from a medieval manuscript known as a bestiary. Now, a bestiary is a very elaborately illustrated volume containing both real and fabulous imaginary beasts, each description accompanied by some sort of a moral lesson. And as late even as the Elizabethan era, the 16th century, bestiaries were considered to be not only scientific, but moral authorities. So in this case, the search for wisdom turns to mythology and to the spiritual realm. To the medieval mind, the behavior of beasts and of the bestiaries were representatives of what was regarded as allegorical wisdom. In the first of the 3 verses of Ola Yelo's Unicornis Captivator, for example, the unicorn and its presentation to the king are thought to symbolize the capture and trial of Christ. And in the second verse, the life that returns to the wounded pelican may symbolize Christ's reviving of humanity after it dies of its sins. And in the third verse, which is the longest musical setting, that reflects the crocodile, which may symbolize hell, and the hydrus, or water snake, may symbolize Christ, as he could enter hell and rescue lost souls from hell. The lion, sleeping for 3 days, may symbolize Christ in the tomb and roaring musically as he comes back to life. The Alleluia refrain that follows each of the 3 verses references both the dying lamb and the conquering lion. Unicornis Captivor is one of Olayelo's earliest choral works from 2001. He wrote it not because of a commission to do so, but rather because of the inspiration that he personally found in the text. It's written for 8-part chorus and requires some pretty developed musicianship chops to pull it off. It includes musical styles ranging from chant to chorales, from dance rhythms to metrical asymmetry, which simply means that tapping your toe may not work out too well. Well, our final selection in this Search for Wisdom section takes us inside our own hearts and souls. In her poem called Listening, Amy Lowell answers or honors the life music, if you will, that each of us is by virtue of our mere existence. 'Tis you that are the music. It's not your song that's the actual music. The song is but the door which, when it's opened wide, lets forth your spirit's harmony. It kind of says it all in terms of why we do what we do as Ember. We conclude with 5 songs, at least 2 of which you will probably already know, several of which may become favorites. Basic truths we find in the first 2 include the ability to believe in things even when they may not be felt or seen or heard. And as sung in the final phrase over Sound Over All Waters, the dark night is ending and dawn has begun. In Toward Wholeness, our final group, we find in the spaces in between us that it is not in what keeps our souls apart, but in what connects and what dreams in us that we find wholeness. In Holding Another's Welfare as Our Own Concern, expressed so beautifully in the popular He Ain't Heavy, we find that we are not weighed down, but are filled with a new kind of gladness. And Bridge Over Troubled Water, well, the giving of oneself for another is the message that leads us toward wholeness. In what ways do we ever come through hard times? Through looking to well-known words of wisdom, to metaphors, perhaps to deeply within ourselves, to relationships with each other. Perhaps it's all a marvelous smorgasbord of guidance. All we really know for sure is that we're all in this together. Thanks for sharing music with Ember today. Let's keep in touch.